Welcome to The Psychology of Money, written by Morgan Housel in 2020. This isn't just about numbers or charts, it's about how we think and behave around money. You see, doing well with money isn't necessarily about what you know, it's more about how you behave. And behavior, well, that's tricky. In this video, we'll explore 20 timeless lessons told through stories about luck and risk, greed and happiness, and why understanding money is more like understanding people than understanding math. Ready? Let's begin. Chapter 1. No one's crazy. Let me tell you about two people. Maya grew up in a house where money was always tight. Her parents saved every penny, worried about every bill, and avoided taking risks. Ben? He grew up in a family that was comfortable. They spent money easily, big vacations, new cars. They never really worried about saving. Years later, Maya saves everything she earns. She's super cautious with money. Ben? He spends freely, always chasing the next big thing. Now, from the outside, you might think Maya is scared or Ben is careless. But here's the thing. Neither of them is crazy. They just had different experiences growing up. The way we think about money is shaped by what we've lived through, and everyone's story is different. Chapter 2. Luck and risk. Imagine flipping a coin. Sarah calls heads 10 times in a row and wins every time. She gets rich. Now, was she smart? Maybe, but she was also lucky. Then there's Mike. He plays the same game but calls tails and loses every time. He goes broke. Success isn't always about skill, and failure isn't always about mistakes. Sometimes it's luck, and sometimes it's risk. Even Bill Gates, one of the richest men ever, was lucky to go to one of the only high schools in the world with a computer in 1968. But his friend Kent Evans, just as smart as Gates, died young in an accident. Luck and risk are like two sides of the same coin. Don't ignore either one. Chapter 3, Never Enough. John had everything: a great job, a nice house, more money than he needed. But it wasn't enough. He wanted what his friends had: bigger houses, faster cars. So he took bigger risks, and it worked for a while, until it didn't. One bad decision led to another, and soon he lost everything. John forgot one simple rule: know when to stop, know what enough looks like. Chasing more can lead you to lose what you already have. Chapter 4. Confounding compounding. Think about planting a tree. Anna plants a tiny seed when she's 10 years old. She waters it, cares for it, and waits. By the time she's 30, it's tall and strong. Ben waits until he's 45 to plant his. Even though he works hard, his tree never grows as big. It's not about doing big things once. It's about doing small things consistently over time. Warren Buffett made most of his fortune after he turned 50, not because he made the biggest bets, but because he gave his money time to grow. That's the power of compounding. Tiny steps today can lead to huge results tomorrow. Chapter 5. Getting wealthy versus staying wealthy. Larry was bold. He made millions by taking big risks, but he lost it all just as fast because he kept pushing for more. Ronald was different. He saved steadily and lived simply. He didn't take wild chances, and he stayed wealthy. Getting rich often requires taking risks. But staying rich? That's about being careful, humble, and knowing when to protect what you have. Fortune favors the brave, but it stays with the wise. But Chapter 6. Tales you win. Imagine you're a writer. You publish 20 books. Only 2 become bestsellers. Now, do you focus on the 18 that didn't work out? Or celebrate the 2 that changed your life? In many things, a small number of wins create most of the success. Those are the tail events, the rare times when everything goes right. So keep trying. You only need a few big wins to make all the effort worth it. Chapter 7. Freedom. Sarah worked hard. She had a high-paying job, but it came with 10-hour days, meetings, and stress. One day she realized what she really wanted: time. Time to be with her family, time to travel, time to live on her own terms. She saved enough money to work less. She earned less, but she was free. Money isn't just about buying things. The greatest thing money can buy is freedom, the freedom to control your time. Chapter 8, The Man in the Car Paradox. Picture this. David finally buys his dream car, a bright red Ferrari. He's always believed that driving such a car would make people admire him. One sunny afternoon, he pulls up to a cafe, heads turn. A young boy nudges his mother, pointing at the car. But here's the twist. They aren't admiring David. They're imagining themselves behind the wheel. They don't care about David. They care about how the car makes them feel. Wealth used to show off rarely earns respect. It creates envy, not admiration. True respect comes from how you treat others, not what you own. Or Chapter 9, Wealth is what you don't see. Let's talk about Lisa and Mark. Lisa always dresses in designer clothes. Her social media is full of exotic vacations and lavish dinners. Everyone thinks she's rich, but what they don't see is her massive credit card debt and sleepless nights worrying about bills. Mark, on the other hand, lives in a modest house, drives an old Toyota, and wears simple clothes, but he's quietly saved for years. One day when an opportunity arises, a chance to invest in his dream business, Mark has the money ready. Wealth isn't about flashy spending. It's the money you don't spend that builds real freedom. Chapter 10, Save Money. Imagine Tom and Emily. Both want to buy a house. Tom spends hours researching high-return investments, hoping to triple his money fast. But markets are unpredictable, and Tom loses most of it. Emily, instead, saves steadily every month, no gimmicks. Years later, she has enough for the house and a safety net. Tom, still chasing quick wins, is stuck renting. Savings aren't just about having money, they're about building options. They give you power over your future, even when things don't go as planned. Chapter 11, Reasonable, Rational. Alex loves numbers. He finds the perfect investment, low risk, high return, so he bets everything on it. At first, he's thrilled, but then the market shifts and he loses it all. Sophie, meanwhile, invests reasonably. She spreads her money, some in stocks, some in bonds, some in savings. Not the highest return, but steady. And when the market dips, she's fine. Perfectly rational plans are often too fragile. Reasonable plans work because they're built for real life, where emotions and surprises happen. Chapter 12, Surprise. In 2008, the world faced a financial crisis. Most experts didn't see it coming. They had charts, data, and experience, yet missed the housing bubble that burst and sent shockwaves across the globe. Now imagine Sam, who carefully follows expert advice, but life surprises him with a health issue, job loss, and a market crash all at once. The lesson? The world is always changing in unexpected ways. You can't predict everything, but you can prepare by staying flexible and adaptable. Chapter 13, Room for Error. Picture Nina, a mountain climber. She packs extra gear and food, even if she hopes not to need it. One day, a storm delays her descent. Her careful planning saves her life. In finances, this is like having an emergency fund, spending less than you earn, and not relying on everything going perfectly. Having room for error gives you resilience. Life rarely goes exactly as planned, so make sure you have a cushion to fall back on. In Chapter 14, You'll Change. Think about Daniel. At 25, he dreams of being a tech entrepreneur. He works day and night, builds a company, and makes it big. But by 40, he's burned out. Now he longs for a quiet life in the countryside, writing books and teaching kids. Our goals and desires shift as we grow. What excites us today may not matter tomorrow. That's why flexible financial plans matter. Leave space for your future self to make different choices, because you will change. Chapter 15, Nothing's Free. Emma wants to invest in the stock market. She dreams of big returns but hates the idea of losing money. She's paralyzed, waiting for the perfect time. But no such time exists. Eventually she learns. The cost of high returns is short-term uncertainty. There's always a price: volatility, anxiety, patience. Nothing worth having is free. If you want rewards, you must accept the cost, whether it's risk, time, or discomfort. Chapter 16, You and Me. Carlos runs a bakery. He hears about a billionaire investor buying up tech stocks. Carlos thinks, if it works for him, it'll work for me. So he pours his savings into tech stocks without understanding the risks. When the market crashes, Carlos loses everything. Meanwhile, the billionaire, playing a different game, waits it out with billions in backup. We all have different timelines, needs, and risk levels. Know your game. Play by your rules, not someone else's. Chapter 17, The Seduction of Pessimism. News headlines scream, market crash coming, recession inevitable. It's scary. Negative predictions get attention because fear sells. But history tells a different story. Over decades, economies grow, people innovate, and progress continues. Yes, bad things happen, but they're often followed by recovery and growth. Pessimism sounds smart. Optimism looks naive. But long-term success comes to those who believe things will get better and act on it. The Chapter 18, When You'll Believe Anything. Oliver watches a YouTube guru who promises massive returns. Follow my strategy, the guru says, and you'll be rich. Excited, Oliver dumps his savings into the latest trend. Weeks later, he panics when another expert says the market's doomed. He sells in fear, at a loss. In times of uncertainty, we want certainty. But be careful. When you're desperate for answers, you'll believe anything. Slow down. Think for yourself. Not every expert knows your story. Chapter 19, All Together Now. Meet Priya. She listens to advice from her parents, reads books, and follows financial podcasts, but she's still unsure. One day she realizes, advice only works when it fits her life. She combines lessons, saving, investing, spending wisely, and makes decisions that feel right for her family and future. It's not about one big idea. It's about pulling everything together in a way that makes sense to you. Be strong, listen carefully, build your own path. To Chapter 20, Confessions. Jason worked hard, made money, and bought a massive house in the best part of town. But the mortgage and maintenance drained him. He couldn't afford vacations, fun with friends, or time off work. He looked rich, but felt trapped. One day he sold the house, downsized, and rebuilt his finances. Now he's free. There's a difference between looking rich and being wealthy. One is about status, the other is about security and freedom. Choose wisely. Ending, a new perspective on money, and so ends our journey through the psychology of money. We've learned that success with money isn't about intelligence or spreadsheets. It's about behavior, patience, humility, and knowing when enough is enough. Build a life where money gives you freedom, not stress. Make choices that honor your values. Thanks for listening. Remember, it's not about beating others at the money game. It's about mastering your own. If you found this video valuable, don't forget to like and subscribe to AI Tools channel for the latest AI-powered tools and AI-generated editions of world-renowned books on professional, personal, and financial growth.